Now we are going to learn how to express a specific variable as the subject of a given formula. And the formula now involves square cubes and square roots or cube roots. So let's look at the first example 2a. The question says make y the subject of this formula. What do you observe in this formula? We actually have a square root. So how do we make y the subject? Now, first let us observe that y is both in the numerator and denominator. Hence, we need to get rid of the square root on the left-hand side. Now, to get rid of the square root on the left-hand side, we need to apply the inverse of square root. So what is the inverse of square root? Actually, inverse of square root is actually square. Opposite of square root is actually square. So we need to square both sides. And this actually, we apply the idea of equivalence. Whatever operation we do on the left-hand side, we need to do on the right-hand side. So now we are ready to simplify. On the left-hand side, the answer is just z minus y squared over z plus y squared. And on the right-hand side, it's actually, you take 1/3 square, it's actually 1/9. Now, we need to rewrite these equations without the denominator because we want to make y the subject. Only y should be on the left-hand side. So we need to get rid of the denominator, and you recall in the previous topic, we can actually multiply both sides by the LCD of 9 and z plus y squared. So I'm multiplying both sides by 9 and z plus y squared. On the left hand side, I will have 9z minus y squared. On the right hand side, I will have z plus y squared. Now you need to simplify expressions. So you need to do expansion. So you have 9z minus 9y squared is equal to z plus y squared. Now remember, I need to gather all my y together and all the z together. So I have 9z minus z equals to y squared plus 9y squared. Now since y should be the subject, I can rewrite this to be y squared plus 9y squared. I write it on the left hand side, 10y squared. 9z minus, okay, I write in the next sentence. So what I have here is 10y squared is equal to 9z minus z, I get 8z. So I actually have grouped all the terms with the y on the left hand side. But I want to make y the subject. Remember, if y is the subject, the coefficient of y must always be 1. So what I have to do is that I need to divide both sides by 10. So y squared is equal to 8 over 10z. Now, to remove the square, what do you do? Now you have to apply because we want to make y the subject, so we cannot have the square. So to remove the square, now we have to apply the inverse operation of square and become square root. And if you remember, whenever you take square root, we must consider all possible solutions. There will be 2 possible solutions. So therefore, y is equals to plus and minus. Okay, this one you can simplify. So it's plus and minus square root of 4 over 5 z. Alright, so this is the final answer. Can you all remember why there is a plus and minus? Let's go back to basic. How do we solve equation like this? Y squared equals to 4. What is the answer? When we take when you actually solve for y squared equals to 4, you know that there should be 2 answers because 2 squared is actually equals to 4. Negative 2 squared is also equals to 4. Therefore, we need to consider 2 different answers. Both the positive and negative. I repeat again because 2 squared is also 4. Negative 2 squared is also 4. That's the reason why whenever you remove square root in equations, we need to include the 2 possible answers plus and minus. Alright, so in this whole questions, the main concept is that when we're removing square root in the equations, we apply the inverse operation of square, which is square. So this is, and then in doing so, we also need to consider both the positive and negative roots, as explained above. Alright, I hope you can understand these questions.